Thank you, Tracy, and thank you all for your warm welcome of myself to the podium. Let me acknowledge firstly all the traditional landowners of this wonderful land in which we congregate, the people of the Gadiga and the Ewa Nation. Thank you very much for your continued hospitality to those of us who are guests in your ancestral land. I want to acknowledge the Senator Tim Ayers, the Assistant Minister of Trade and Minister for Future Made in Australia. Thank you for your presence. High Commissioner of Australia to Papua New Guinea, His Excellency John Fix, and Ambassador Yatistuk, Ambassador of the great United States of America to Papua New Guinea. Mr. Anthony Smare, Chairman of the Chamber of Resource and Energy, thank you for your astute leadership and seeing this wonderful conversation grow and the meeting of people who are interested in Papua New Guinea. I want to sincerely, from the outset, on behalf of our government and many ministers who are here today and the people of Papua New Guinea, appreciate the leadership of the Chamber of Resources and Energy, sincerely do. All ministers who are here, and my good friend, the President of the Autonomous Region of Government, President, the Honorable Ismail Taroma, thank you for your entourage who've traveled from Bougainville to join us here. And I want to acknowledge all our business houses who are here, all investors who invest in PNG, those who are showing interest to invest in PNG. Thank you for your presence here. I want to also acknowledge all our resource owners, our landowners, our provincial governors. I note our senior governor, Hipras, who worked tirelessly with me to reopen Pogra. I want to appreciate all our national leadership and our landowners who are here. Over 1,800 in this moment is a tremendous show of strength and confidence in Papua New Guinea. I want to acknowledge all our civil servants who are also here, led by Chief Secretary, Ambassador Ivan Pomalio. Thank you very much for being here. I look forward to speaking in the next 10 minutes or so to give context to Papua New Guinea, who we are, for the benefit of those who may be showing interest to come into PNG. And also for those of us who are here, lest we forget the journey of our travel. It is almost 50 years since 1975. 50 years. At 1975, I want you to go back memory lane. I want you to recollect where you were. For me, I was a 4-year-old boy in one of the most remotest parts of Papua New Guinea, in a place called Nomad River. Nomad River is a place that is still far remote and removed, although only 100 kilometers west, you have Oktedi mine that is now running 40 years on. From remotest Nomad River in Western Province to today, at 1975, knew no English, ate no rice, slept in no electricity-fired house. Walking was my mode of travel. And today, almost 50 years on, we are conversing in modern auditorium, speaking in English, and like minds meeting together. This is the journey of my country. My life reflects the journey of Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea at 1975 was a small emerging nation. Small in the economy, but our landmass is bigger than New Zealand, bigger than Japan, bigger than UK, to give you some context. It's a big land space that has abundant natural resources. Our economy, however, was small. At 1975, many also thought we would fail as a nation. And I want to step back at the anniversary of our 50th year that is coming up, because this conference will usher in our 50th anniversary next year. And I want to step back and pay my respect to the pioneers of Papua New Guinea, led by none other than the greatest we've had, in Great-Grand Chief Sir Michael Thomas Somare and his generation, who carved a wonderful country that is guided by a robust and one of the best constitutions on the face of planet Earth. I want to step back and say thank you to them. Why don't all of you join me and appreciate this generation? For it was their vision and foresight to implant a very robust democracy, a nation that is guided by democratic virtues and values, and deep inside, embedded in that democracy, lies the tenet of free market enterprise and free market economy. We have a very strong and wonderful constitution. That constitution gives separation to three arms of government that administers and governs our country up till today. Our parliament is the House of Legislators. The Speaker is the head of our parliament. From 1975 up till today, my memory and my notes and my research tells me we have had 17 speakers of parliament, speakers of the House or the National Parliament. Our judiciary is headed by the Chief Justice. The country has seen only 5 Chief Justices up till today. They're the most stable arm of our three arms of government. The judiciary has been stable, and I want to acknowledge the role of our judiciary in our country. They've been the anchor and stability of our democracy thus far. And of course, the executive government, which is headed by the Prime Minister, we've only had 8 Prime Ministers in the last 49 years of our country. Last night, someone was telling me, one of our big investors, and I want to respect him, Mr. Bristow of Barrick. There was a headline going around that the nation of Mali is chasing him for they put some headlines out. The difference between Mali and with respect to them and Papua New Guinea is a robust democracy. Mali is a military dictatorship. Now, why do I say this? With respect to Mali and other parts of the world, Papua New Guinea remains a robust democracy. We have independence in our judiciary. We have a separate legislature and a functioning executive government. We present to investors and to the global community an outlook of a vibrant democracy that plays its politics, but of course, at the end of the day, allows every citizen, every resident, and every business to live freely in a way that a democracy should. And so we offer to the world a stable outlook as we come face to face with our 50th anniversary. The reason why I put this out as a backdrop is to impress on each and every one of you, especially those who are coming into Papua New Guinea or who might be tuning in. And I want to appreciate the great all-round interest that is shown by not just Australian investors and our traditional investors, but from around the world showing interest in Papua New Guinea. We straddle not just the Pacific space, but we straddle into Southeast Asia, and we linked to North Asia, we linked to West Asia, and we also maintain traditional rapport and relationship with all our traditional nations who've been friends to us. So Papua New Guinea is in a very exciting space. With our democracy, with our thriving economy, and with our foreign policy outlook, we remain a very prosperous place for investment. And I want to second the sentiment expressed by Chairman Anthony Smare. Your business card exchanges in this meeting must mean well for your company and for your shareholders. Find a new partner, find a friend, find a Papua New Guinean, find a Papua New Guinean business who have been in our country for so long, so that together you could step into PNG and for us to assist. Let me indicate also there will be a few ministers speaking. Minister for Mining, Minister for Petroleum. Keep a lookout for Minister for Investment and Trade, the Honorable Minister Maru, who's also amongst us. Minister for Commerce and Industry in the precinct of this conference, of course, Minister of Foreign Affairs, who's also here. Our work is to signal to you that we're not a bad country for investment. Any investors who operate in our country knows that we are a safe place for investment. We honor agreements, and agreements run the full length of time. That's the reputation, proud reputation of our country. You only have to ask Santos. Santos emerged bigger and into PNG. Today, Santos runs our Kumul, our oil export terminal at the Gulf. No cargo of oil has missed its international contracts since oil first ran at the Kumul terminals in 1990. That is our proud testament. You ask ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil will indicate that since 2014, no earthquake or no any other issue would have shut down PNG LNG from producing. PNG LNG remains a world-class producer of LNG, a project that was delivered on time and a budget and continues to straddle 5 diverse provinces, a testament of wonderful work of investors. And of course, progress restarted. Newmont has come in. Total is in country progressing Papua LNG, and I am mindful of the cost blowout in the earlier bids that has come in. Mr. Puyana did brief me, and I looked into the numbers myself, and I saw the rationale of a deferred FID. And so you got the majors in Papua New Guinea. The big fours, for instance, as I spoke last year, the big fours are in PNG, Total, ExxonMobil in the oil and gas sector, Newmont and Barrick in the mining sector, and a handful of robust mid-sized companies who operate also. I could go on and name 2 that stands out to me right now, Kenyan Mine, showing great progress in the mine they operate in the Eastern Highlands province. Yesterday I was pleased to be briefed by the operators of the mine Simberi, the operators of Simberi, and it's showing good signs there. So a lot of energy, positive energy in Papua New Guinea, and I just want to encourage all of you who are here. PNG is a growth country. It was only 22 years ago when our economy was still below 20 billion kina. In the last 22 years, we have grown our economy to now be pushing past 125 billion kina, so to speak. When Marape passed the economy to the Honorable Peter O'Neill in 2011, the economy was a 46 billion kina economy. When Mr. O'Neill passed the economy to me in 2019, the economy was a 79 billion kina economy. Today, the economy is pushing past 125 billion kina economy. By next year, we will be almost 140 billion kina economy. Papua New Guinea is a growth country, and I want to encourage all of you, not just primarily in the mining and petroleum and energy sector, but in the associate spin-offs. Associate spin-offs, any businesses can come into Papua New Guinea. I do give encouragement to all of you to come into this space. In businesses that may feed off the major mining and petroleum sector businesses. Our government itself, and I was listening to Mr. Vicent from ANZ present last year, he made an important observation. Whilst investors come in, PNG government remains the biggest spender in our economy. The last 5 years, for instance, with COVID-19 hitting us in 2020, we deliberately went into a deficit budget strategy to maintain stimulus in the economy and to ensure our economy is growing and not contracting. The last 5 budgets, together, we put out over 130 billion kina into the PNG economy. That is why we were able to grow from a 79 billion kina economy to a 125 billion kina economy this year. Government's strategic use of tools we have before us, including working with Central Bank and the Treasury synergizing together, we're working to grow the economy. So in our own work, our focus is growing the economy. And we know that you as investors coming in will assist us in this space. And I want to give you our full assurance right from the start. We are not here to chase our investors. Rather, we are here to attract investments and investors simply because our focus remains. When I took office in 2019, I made a headline statement. at the very earliest, if not by 2029 or 2030, at the very earliest, we want to grow our economy to a 200 billion Guinea economy. The reason was simple. Our population was growing big. We need to catch up in as far as the economy was concerned. We must grow the economy at a pace that is outrunning the population growth. And today, as I speak, our census is running its tally. Our nation is a nation of about 10 million people. And we will finally be concluding our census to put finger on exactly what the number is. But even at 10 million people, our economy still needs to grow. And we are on target and focus. By 2029, we want to reach a 200 billion Guinea economy. Our treasurer is sitting here. He will attest to this in his speech later on today. Last 5 years, not just the mining sector, but more importantly, our focus on the non-resource sector is bearing result. We posted for the first time in our nation's history a growth of over 4.5% the last 4 years in our non-resource sector. Non-resource sector means you take away petroleum and mining, you throw in agriculture, you throw in forestry, you throw in fisheries, you throw in tourism, you throw in the service sector. We have seen for the first time in our nation's history over 4.5% continuous growth the last 5 years. That signals that our focus in diversifying our economy is growing. But we still need you in the mining sector and in the petroleum sector to become the major impetus of sustained growth, if not new wave of growth going forward for our country. And so I want to indicate to all of you, as we focus on growing our economy to a 200 billion Guinea economy plus, key government policies are coming in place. For all of you who are investors here, I want you to look into our focus on replacing imports by going into downstream production. And that includes all sectors, not just the petroleum sector or the mining sector. When I talk about replacing imports, most would think that we're just concentrating in the mining or petroleum sector. Far from it. It is an all-encapsulating statement. It includes, for instance, replacing importation of rice, replacing importation of beef and chicken and proteins that we are importing right now, replacing importation of forestry product when we can produce ourselves in country. Those conversations are running. For those of you in the service businesses listening in, and I was pleasantly impressed with Mayu, for instance, they're discussing on lime and cement business in Papua New Guinea. Those sort of conversations must also pick up big in these forums, and I encourage the investors out there who want to partner Papua New Guinea in import replacement. This is something that will go big in the next 10 years. We want to also ramp up export, and not just export from raw produces we are producing today. In the next 20 years, I pronounced at the United Nations when I spoke this year, the next 20 years PNG will migrate from not just a raw resource primary export of primary produce. We want to migrate to a secondary produce exporter in our region. And so that conversation will ramp up. For those of you in business here, look into picking a business that could assist our intention to be exporting raw produce in the mining space. Our own Kumul minerals will be a strong push. We will be using resources from Oktedi, especially copper resource from Oktedi, to focus on how we could model copper smelting and a copper refinery process. The conversation on gold refinery is still going on. This is not just targeting mining sector and petroleum sector. It's a conversation that is deeply embedded in government policy, especially the policy of my generation of Papua New Guineans. We don't want to remain a raw exporter. I give you one example. We export timber to the export destinations. They sell back to us table. We'd rather sell table than selling raw timber to these destinations. Is that okay? Papua New Guineans, are you happy with this conversation, or are you not happy with this conversation? And so by 2045, as our nation celebrates 70 years, a short 20 years from today, we want to be a country that is industrialized and exporting finished product, firstly from the resources we produce in our own country, and secondly, other resources that we could secure elsewhere. And to make sure this is so, our government is working on few reforms. I want to give you all statistics or indication of some of the reforms we're working. First thing first, and more importantly, strengthening the rule of law in our country. We're working, and lately my coalition government has elevated the conversation on strengthening the rule of law in our country as our #1 priority. And I want to indicate to all of you some major reforms that is going on. First and foremost, we are strengthening our judiciary. Our judiciary will remain a robust, independent judiciary. We want the judiciary to be amongst the best amongst our peer countries. And so we're introducing an appeals court, separating Supreme Court to be only reading Section 18, Section 19, and few selected matters at higher up. But we're introducing an appeals court that will sit on top of our national court. It is in our intention to make our courts more independent, more separate and functioning. We're working with Australia and our Commonwealth, other Commonwealth nations to bring in over 20 expert judges to sit in our courts so that our court is functioning better, efficiently, and dispensing judgments at the earliest. Amongst that work, we'll be bringing in modern arbitration into Papua New Guinea. So any one of you who have disputes, you know there's arbitration as an alternate path to dispute resolution, as well as a fairer, safer court system that handles all disputes in Papua New Guinea. We've shown that in the last 49 years, we have become a litigious society. And so as part of democracy, you don't stop people running to court. We want all disputes to be finding solutions in our independent and strengthened modern court system. So I want to introduce to this to the audience here, as investors in Papua New Guinea, be rest assured our courthouse, our court system is being relooked and revamped, working with our Chief Justice, who is a strong sponsor of the revamp of our higher courts, where we will bring in the appeals court, and we will have the Supreme Court elevated and a separate national court. Parliament has passed these laws. We're working to operationalize these laws as we celebrate our 50th anniversary. That is something that is worked upon. I want to appreciate the Australian government for our partnership in the bilateral security agreement. That will mean Australia will invest over $300 to $400 million working in partnership with Papua New Guinea Royal Constabulary. We are strengthening our domestic police. Parliament passed in our last parliament the Anti-Terrorism Act. It is now an act, and it means police is empowered to go out there, put the fire out in hotspots. A stronger law that protects and empowers the police, working with the bilateral security agreement and our own investment in police. We hope in the next 2 years, we make our police a functioning police that is effectively securing the safety of our people and our investments in our country. We're working in the second line of focus, strengthening the educational sector so that Papua New Guinea can have skilled workforce, educated workforce. Some of you would have noted we're now starting to sponsor Papua New Guinean top science and math students to the best schools in the USA, to China, and other universities across the world. We also focus on developing our technical vocational school systems in our country so that there could be skilled workforce available to work in our country. Last night, Mr. Mark McDonald was telling me he's now bringing in Papua New Guinean welders and plumbers to work in his business in Australia and in parts of Pacific. It goes to show the importance of having skilled personnel available. And ExxonMobil is a testament also to this. I was education minister in 2009 when I was privileged to work with then ExxonMobil management. We put in place a training program, and we recruited over 1,200 Papua New Guineans. When earthquake struck in 2018 up there in the mountains of Heights, guess what? The control was controlled by a Papua New Guinean who passed through that training. It needed no expert to assist him. He shut down the plant and rebooted the plant. Technically sound, competent Papua New Guineans operating PNG LNG right now is a testament to what we can do. And so we will continue to focus in the space of education to make sure that our school system produces Papua New Guineans who could be available to work when your employers require Papua New Guineans to be at work. I want to also indicate we're working with the health department to make sure we have a healthy outlook. Our 22 hospital focus is running. We've almost completed and are staffing Enga Provincial Hospital. We've completed WIWEC of the East Sepik Provincial Hospital. The Goroka Hospital was completed by the last government. We're working to make sure it is staffed. Lay Hospital is completed. I want to appreciate Australia government for intervention in Lay Hospital. We're working ourselves to make sure Port Moresby General Hospital become a fully specialized hospital. At the moment, we're on track by 2025, September 16, to no more be exporting Papua New patients in heart and cancer and kidney to offshore and overseas for medical attentions. Those work are running. So I want to impress on all of you, work in the health sector is ramping up so that your workforce in PNG has access to modern health facilities in our own country instead of emergency evacuation elsewhere. Our fourth focus is on critical infrastructure. We want to ensure our roads, jetties, ports, ICT is ready to support a modern economy. As you investors come in, roads must link you to where you are working. And I'll give you one example. ExxonMobil has and partners has an interest in Pinyang. Well, even before they move into deep pre-feed and feed, or deep feed rather, we're already building road only a few more kilometers to reach the Pinyang area, utilizing a tax credit project from Octedi. So this is a work that is happening right across the country. Roads, ports, jetties, power lines, and ICT is being worked upon as we speak in our country. Our fifth focus as a country, we want to make sure that our foreign relations is good. Our foreign relations is our market and business also. Our foreign relations with all nations will not be compromised. We remain, and the inherent policy that drives our foreign relationship is friends to all, enemies to none. China remains a big market for us. They buy over 50% of our produce all around, and of course all other relations. So we are proud of our relationship we have. Papua New Guinea belongs to, is placed in a unique place. We are friends with East and friends with West. We are friends with North and we are friends with South. The conversation around Indo-Pacific is a conversation that deeply benefits Papua New Guinea. We are in all spaces, East, West, North, South, you go. Papua New Guinea is placed in a better place to capitalize on our foreign relations. Very soon, our new foreign policy will be pronounced as I speak today. It is being promulgated. Minister Chachenko will give a brief indication. But deeply embedded in our foreign policy is our maintenance of friends to all and enemies to none. That friendship, of course, will never compromise our democratic values, the fundamental tenets we hold close to our heart, democracy and free market economy. But we relate to all economies, especially those economies that buy our produce. And I want to say, for those of you who are coming and investing in PNG, our foreign relations enables your market access. I repeat this, our foreign relations enables your market access. If you are investing elsewhere and your market access elsewhere is tougher, Papua New Guinea is a place you want to choose to invest in because we have access to markets that many of our peer nations don't have access to. Of the top 20 economies on planet Earth, Papua New Guinea and I could count, Papua New Guinea have personal relationship with most of them. The number one economy in USA is our deep traditional partner. They're making a big rebound back in PNG, and the presence is getting bigger as we speak. The second biggest economy, China, remains a constant partner. They continue to buy over 50% of our products. The last successful bilateral I had with President Xi Jinping in Beijing, I looked across to him, and I said, I got LNG to sell. And he said, we will buy. I said, 3 million metric tons of LNG from Papua LNG was conversed on the table, and they decided to pick 3 million metric tons of gas from PNG. We have our third biggest economy, Japan, one of our reliable, strong partner nation. And to all Japanese investors here, I want to say, arigato gozaimasu. You are a foundation partner in buying our gas. In 2014, I was there when the Spirit of Hela left Port Moresby, and we were at the TEPCO yards in Japan. You were our foundation customer in PNG LNG. And so we relate with the Japanese leadership. They always ask us, we need more energy, we need more coffee, we need more products, we need more tuna for the sashimi. So Japan, the third biggest economy, remains a very close partner to Papua New Guinea. And I got on the list. You got big economies like Indonesia right next door. Minister Maru and Deputy Prime Minister re-energizing and reactivating our connections with Indonesia. If some of you, and I also speak for Indonesia as a student of geopolitics, you look into PNG and also look into Indonesia. Indonesia will be, if not the fourth biggest economy, will be amongst the top 5 to 6 economies in the world in the next 20 years. Papua New Guinea have deep personal relations with Indonesia. We're looking forward to synergy and our products finding market in Indonesia. We got personal relationship with India. We got relations with France. We have relations with Germany. We have our traditional link to UK. And of course, South Korea, and the list goes on, not forgetting our own close friend and family in Australia. The list of nations Papua New Guinea relate to is endless for your produces to find market in those bilateral relationships that we honor, value, and relate with. And so market for PNG produces is abundant. Right in the heart of Asia, by next year, hopefully, we would become a full member of ASEAN. Conversation is running for PNG to be a member of ASEAN. ASEAN brings into closer to PNG a market of close to 500 million people. When I throw in India and China and the rest of Asia, Papua New Guinea has direct market link to over 4 billion people in the next 100 years, which is going to be Asian 100 years. And so you are in a place at the right time. The conversation around foreign relations is not just politics, but it's commerce, it's economy, it's people to people. And for you, investing in Papua New Guinea means you will benefit from the headline bilateral relationships we have with these nations around us. And I want to say, and move on beyond foreign relations, I want to say that we are working to diversify our economy. We're not just awaiting a next mine to happen or next petroleum project to happen. Whilst WAFI will be crossed very, very soon, and I want to apologize for those who are expecting announcements here, we are working with them and spending ceaseless hours trying to get the dots in the right place and ticks in the right place and letters in the right place. As they say, devil is in the details. James Marape will be gone one day, but I want a Prime Minister after me to know that the agreement was secured in the best interest of all parties. Investors making a return on investment, and Papua New Guinea also yielding successfully from a good agreement. WAFI will be concluded very soon. Pinyang is being progressed to pre-feed and work running. I want to thank ExxonMobil. Pasca, I was told last night, almost gets agreement ready, and all these projects are being moved at different stages. But we are not waiting on just mining an oil and gas project. We are focused on the sustainable aspect of economy. As indicated, the last 4 years, we've been posting over 4% growth in our economy. And so I just want to indicate to all of you, our economy is being diversified as we speak. Minister Maru, when he speaks, hopefully he will indicate on our special economic zones that we are introducing into our country to attract manufacturing, attract other investments also. By 2030, we hope to be a 200 billion Kenya economy. Treasurer tells me by 2035, we should be a 300 billion Kenya economy. And by 2048, we're now modeling our economy and looking deep into the future. By 2048, we want to be a 3 trillion Kenya economy. That's how we are mapping out our economy. And I'm saying this to give confidence to all of you. We're not just waking up one morning deciding to do this. We've been planning this out the last 5 years, so that 5 years, 10 years from today, together, all of us, look back, and we could collectively say, you, me, all of us have contributed to a better Papua New Guinea. And I want to ask all of you, as we journey forward into the future in conclusion, Panguna played its role in the 70s. And I want to thank our Bougainville people and the operators of the BCL mine. Panguna played their role in the 1970s and early 80s. Okteri played his role in the 1980s. Pogora, Kudubu, Heights, Gobe played its role in the 1990s. Lihir, Simberi, Ramu Nicol, Misima, Hidden Valley, Kanatu Mines, and others have played a role in the last 20 or so years. PNG LNG came in, was a big waterfall, and the impetus of the growth we are seeing today continues to play its role today in the 2020s. All these are indications that the last 49 years, the mining and petroleum sector has played its role in my country's progress. And on behalf of the people of Papua New Guinea, I want to step back and say thank you to the mining and petroleum sector. Thank you very much. As my nation faces our 50th anniversary, I want to ask all of us, and really all of us, let us do more. Let us work together. All of you sitting here have an interest in Papua New Guinea. You are an important stakeholder. That is why you are here today. You value Papua New Guinea. You call Papua New Guinea your home. You call Papua New Guinea your residence. You call your Papua New Guinea your business area. We all have affinity for Papua New Guinea. That is why you choose to be here. You flow in here. You attend this meeting. And I want to say thank you very much. Your interest for Papua New Guinea must not just be business, but it must be an interest that sows for collective progress for all of us. We must say a vision that collectively we can progress. We must all win in this game of investing in PNG. Take back PNG does not mean that only PNG wins. Take back PNG does not mean that investors will lose. Far from it. We understand commerce. My treasurer is one of the most successful businessmen our country has ever produced. He understands commerce. We know very well that investors too must win. And so I want to give you my fullest assurance as we gather here and as we come face to face with our 50th anniversary and as we work towards constructing a new architecture of our new PNG going forward beyond 50 years of anniversary. Investors will not be left behind. We want to make sure you earn a return on investment that is better in our region, that is greater in our region, so that you can also bring back to your shareholders indication that yes, we're investing in PNG and we are earning good money from Papua New Guinea. And so Papua New Guinea look forward to engaging with all of you investors early next year. In our focus to grow our country, in our focus to not leave our landowners behind and our provincial government behind. The reason why we had Bougainville crisis, for instance, is when Papua New Guinea government and investors leave behind provincial government and landowners. Because they're in the environment, they're with the people. And so the construct of a new framework going forward in our country must be something that is a win-win for all of us. Investors win, and Papua New Guinean landowners win, Papua New Guinean provincial governments and Bougainville government win, and of course the national government wins for our country. This must be our shared vision. Together we must find a win-win solution for all of you and all of us, and we move forward into the future. I want to ask all of you to think big, innovate boldly in your businesses, and collaborate deeply amongst each of you so that finding the win-win solution becomes profit-making for all of you in business and for us in Papua New Guinea government, that gives us an ability to contribute to better development for our people. I look forward to a greater partnership with all of you. In mid-January, I want to ask the leadership at the Chamber of Resource and Energy to meet the Petroleum and Mining Minister and our Minister for Investment. Our conversation will rotate around us going forward as we take the investment environment forward. We want to move into a legislative framework that secures your investments, at the same time clearly augments our landowner return for our landowners, return for our provincial governments, and return for national government, and clearly spelling out the win-win for all of us. Papua New Guinea wants to have its a tailor-made production sharing regime that has PNG characteristics. The difference between PNG and most nations, just to remind all of you, land is owned by the people. And if we can find a way to give them respect, and landowners seeing value for projects in their own country, and government assists in that space, investments will be secure for the long run, and that is something government wants to tailor. I will be calling for the chamber to sit with government next year as we look into structuring the laws and framework that will protect and preserve a high level of return on investment to our investors, but at the same time giving value to our landowners, provincial government, and our two national companies, Kumul Mineral and Kumul Petroleum. I want to close by saying that together we can set the joys and pain of our nation. Our nation is a nation that is richly endowed. We will not chase investors. Rather, we're looking forward to working with each and every one of you. And hopefully, 50 years from today, if you and me are still alive, we could truly have said that we have grown PNG into the wonderful, prosperous nation it is. And our children after us can say our generation have contributed well. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I look forward to sitting at the fireplace, and if one or two questions are suited me, if I don't answer it well, there's a government liaisons outside. Make a contact. Chief Secretary is on standby. Minister of Trade is on standby. If you have been given a runaround by our bureaucrats, we are on standby to assist any one of you, no matter how big or small you may be. We're here to assist. Thank you too much. God bless everyone. I will be here right through, listening to every conversation the next 3 days. And on Thursday, hopefully, some of you potential sponsors of our NRL team can join me as the NRL completes its process in making a potential announcement of our team. Not complete yet, but potential announcement of our team. And I ask all of you, please join me becoming good sponsors of a potential team post-2028. Thank you very much. God bless Tracy.